So with all this being stuck at home and just playing video games, I'm kind of thinking about, what do I want to play next? And obviously I want to play Warhammer 3, but as far as we know, we have nothing. We don't know anything. So as far as we know nothing. So that's just fantastic. But it kind of got me thinking, what Total War games do I want? What Total War games do I want to see that'd be cool, that'd be interesting, that'd be different? So I thought to myself, what's the lowest effort content that you can possibly make? And I thought about a vlog, but then I realised that'd just be me sat at my desk doing nothing every single day.
I'm a pickle! I'm Pickle Rick!
So instead I decided to go for what's just above that in effort, which is a top 5 video. This is going to be the top 5 Total War games that they need to make. Just want to point out before I start that I'm not going to take into account cost, licensing or anything legal, so this is just like my ideas of what I personally think would make a cool, fun, interesting Total War game. So if it's literally impossible, I'm probably still going to put it on the list because it'd be interesting to me. Starting us off at number 5 would be a Witcher universe themed game, and it might just be me because I've been playing a hell of a lot of The Witcher because, I haven't really got anything better to do, but I really love The Witcher. I think there's some really interesting things you could do with it. There are a lot of man factions, so it would kind of appeal to, the historical audience that does just like the men. You have the Nilfgaardians, the Temerians, the Skellige Islanders, and there's another one, it's the Redanians. There's plenty of man factions also. If you've watched the Netflix series, there's Sintra. You could kind of break all the timelines. A lot of these ideas are going to break all the timelines and the rules because, that's just kind of the way it is. Total War Warhammer breaks all the rules and it's fantastic polished game with no visible issues whatsoever. But yes, you have all the man factions, then you have the, different ones, like you've got the Scoia'tael, which kind of elves, then you have the dwarves, you also have a lot of monsters, and you could just have a wide variety of factions and units, really. Of course, you also have the Witchers, but they could work on like a hero basis, like, Gotchic and Felix. Like, one comes into your town, says, oh, you got any jobs for me? I can't do it. Just pull up a clip of, like, Henry Cavill just doing something. So he could just come into town, reload his biceps and say, have you got any work for me? He goes off, does a job for you, kills someone, assassinates someone. Witchers do what witchers do. Like in Warhammer, there's loads of events that happen over the course of the campaign. You could have events happen in the Witcher TV series, or in the games, happen over the course of the campaign and kind of spice things up. Like in the second Witcher game, spoilers, there's a guy that goes around assassinating all the kings. It is called Assassin of Kings, so I don't feel like that's a spoiler. He could go around assassinate all the kings, it could, make public order worse, incite rebellions, the Scoia'tael come and attack from the forest. Lots of things could happen that would make it into a very interesting game, full of lots of rich lore, different characters, interesting units. I think it could be pretty interesting. Coming in at number 4, we have Warcraft. Now, Warcraft is one of those games that I never personally played beyond the demo. Like, I played that little bit, I didn't really get it, it wasn't really for me. But it has got like 5 million players, and it's a game that came out about 16 years ago. So it's kind of a popular game, and it's got quite a lot of rich lore. It's got 16 years of lore writing behind it, and some of the cinematics you find on YouTube, like, there are scenes that could come straight out of Total War. Like, you just see, like, the big armies marching, the towers coming, the cannons firing, one lone orc stood there wielding his things. And, of course, it will be a bit similar to Warhammer because it's, kind of orcs and humans and magicians, wizards, and, all these types of people. But, magicians, oh my god. But yes, I think it would be very interesting. Of course, in the game you have, well, this is from the Wikipedia page, and then I went on the page for the actual game and it seemed a bit different, so I'm not exactly sure, but on the Wikipedia page, it says there are 4 main factions: the Alliance, the Horde, the Burning Legion, and the Scourge, and then there were like 45 other factions, or races, so, that's quite a lot of races if Wikipedia is correct. On the game page, there was about 24 races that were under 3 factions, so it's a little bit different, but still, that is a lot of content that they could put out. Like, how many lords do we have in Warhammer 2 now? We have loads. You could have that, again, just from Warcraft, and it's got a whole rich lore behind it. You could have different types of story quests, different types of story-based campaigns. One thing they did with Warhammer 1 that I personally thought was quite interesting was when they added a DLC race, they had like a full campaign with it, like the Call of the Beastmen DLC. It wasn't amazing, but it was a whole new unique campaign where you'd go around, you attack Toddy, all that sorts of things, and it was very interesting. So if they did that with a Warcraft type thing, you could have these little story-based campaigns, obviously have the big mortal empires. I don't know what to call it, just the sandbox one where it's got all of them, but you could have some really intricate little story-based ones. I think would be a very interesting direction for Total War to go, since the story never really takes center stage. It's always the gameplay, which is fine. It's a strategy game, it's not a story game, but I think some story-based campaigns would just be a very interesting addition and would make for a really good game. And of course, the unit variety, there's all the different races I mentioned before, but within those races, you've also got all the different classes. Like, there are a lot of classes in this game. So, if CA got a partnership with Blizzard, it'd be pretty interesting, as they could continually, like, Blizzard be like, okay, so we're developing this is a new thing that's coming out. CA like, right, cool, let's build up this faction, let's get all these units together, they can ask Blizzard for all the deets, and, it'd be pretty sick. I mean, it'd cost a lot of money and probably would never happen, but I think it'd be pretty interesting. Now, coming in at number 3, it's pretty much something that every single person that's played Total War Warhammer will be expecting. It's Total War Warhammer 40k, which I don't really need to say any more than that, do I? Like, people love 40k. People love Warhammer, they love 40k. It's Warhammer meets spaceships and aliens. It's really cool. The main problem that I have with this one, and why it isn't higher, is because gunplay and high-tech battling, it kind of doesn't really work with the Total War formula. I mean, Empire was a thing, but I played a little bit of Empire. It's not great, okay? It's not great. The whole gun line-based thing, it didn't work amazingly. But in 40k, you know, you have the gun lines and the cannons, which is all fair enough, but you also have, you know, the big guys with the swords. I can't remember which ones they're called. I'm not that big of a Warhammer guy, but, you know, the guy... Hang on, I'm just going to get it. You know, you could have these guys with the big swords. That'd be pretty amazing, you know, on your front line. Just have some of those just going in, just slicing everyone to pieces, as well as a load of bolters just hanging in from above. That'd be amazing. And all the flamethrowers probably crash my computer, but still would be pretty cool. Of course, when you go onto the webpage for 40k, there are only 3 factions, and within those factions there's like different types. You know, in the Xenos you've got the undead people and the orcs and all sorts of things, and chaos demons, and then the Imperium, that's kind of all the space marine people put together. So you would have to kind of split that up to, you know, get more than 3 factions in the game, but you could kind of do that gradually. You know, start off with the Imperium and just have, you know, space marines, guys with chainsaws, you know, keep it basic, and then expand out, you know, exactly how they have in Warhammer 1 and 2. You know, they start off with Empire, the dwarves, the greenskins, and the other guys, and they just kind of crafted it into this beautiful little thing, which was a little bit bad to begin with, and then they've just slowly expanded it into this massive, sprawling Mortal Empires campaign that they're still adding to, and it's amazing. They could do something very similar, and even though it is a massive stretch, because, as I said, the modern warfare, well, not the modern warfare, the high sci-fi warfare, it's something they've never done before, but on the same point, it's something they've never done before, so it'd be different, could be very cool, could be very interesting. I'd very much like to see it. I don't know if we ever will, but, you know, CA have a good partnership with Games Workshop, so if they do really, really well on Warhammer 3, you know, the trilogy is sold outstanding every single time, Games Workshop might just be like, you know what, give it a go. And you never know, we might see it a little bit. Now, something that gets overlooked in a lot of Total War games is the naval combat. Like, in Warhammer, we don't even see any naval combat. There are like 3 maps that you play on when you have a battle at sea, and you just teleport to them, fight, and then go back to the water, and it's awful. In the older games and more historic games, there was a little bit of aquatic combat, and I want to bring that back. Imagine if there was a game where that's all you did, just fought in the water. A world of warships, perhaps. It'd be even better if entry to this world was free, and if by clicking the link in the description, you could enter this world for free, again, with an extra warship, 7 days of premium time, and 1,000 doubloons. What world that would be. I bet that world would be so cool. I bet it'd have like highly tactical, large-scale combat gameplay. I bet there'd be like over 200 ships going from like the First World War up to modern technology and to stuff that we haven't even seen yet. And I bet that if you click that link in the description, you enter this world for free and get all that stuff that I've listed below, I bet you'd get a fantastically free game and you'd support your favourite, most handsome content creator on YouTube. How amazing would that be? Okay, but like genuinely for a second, like this is a genuine image that I didn't make this image. I found this image when they sent me the materials for promoting it, and the only video that I could find was like completely in Russian. Like all the audio is in Russian, all the gameplay and stuff, it's got Russian words, Russian text. It's completely in Russian. I'm so confused. But yeah, thanks for World of Warships sponsoring this video, I guess, so, you know, click that link and give me all your money. Now back to our list. For number 2, I have to say Mythology. And when I mean Mythology, I mean all the Mythology. If you've ever played the game Smite, that's basically what I'm talking about, but for Total War. Now, if you haven't played Smite, it's basically like a kind of a league type game, but where you play in like a third-person shooter-esque thing, and, you know, you play as all the different gods from all the different places, and you battle it out. But what I'm talking about is bringing all the mythologies into one place, all the different gods from all the different countries and cultures in the world, and just bring them into a massive, sprawling, Total War masterpiece. Again, cost, licensing, legal, everything. Probably won't happen, but I think it'd be pretty cool. Now, I know that Troy's coming out, and that some of the basis of Troy is that they're going to be adding mythological units, but as realistically as possible. They're going to have Minotaurs, but instead of it being a Minotaur, it's going to be a guy with a big axe with a ball in his head. It's not going to be, you know, a full Minotaur. I'm talking about full mythology, and yes, it is sounding a little bit similar to Warhammer, but just let me get a bit into it. So obviously there are different cultures, you know, you got the Greeks, the Romans, the Mayans, the Chinese, there's many different cultures in the world. So you can basically never really run out of, different races to add and stuff. So this could be a game that we just get, content for years to come, like Warhammer 2. Of course, your faction leaders could be the gods. There could be different lords and heroes in the game, depending on how powerful the god is. Like Zeus would be a lord, but maybe like Apollo would just be, kind of an assassin or someone that just goes, round and round playing music. And of course, for the base units, you can't just have wall-to-wall gods. You need to have some men, so you'd have just like your standard spearmen, swordsmen, cav, archers, different types. But depending on the culture, you could have them from different eras. So you could have the Roman focus on war machines, the Greeks they kind of focus on heavy infantry, and the Mayans they focus on, I don't really know anything about Mayan culture. I assume that they kind of sneak around with those bowlers, because that's all I saw in Smite. That Zablanke dude just don't quote me on any of this. I'm not that big of a history buff, but I think it'd be pretty cool to see all the mythologies in one place in a grand scale Total War game. I think it'd also be pretty great with the Three Kingdoms dueling mechanic. This is something that I hope they bring into Warhammer 3, because I think it'd be really cool to have duels like that. Of course, as an optional thing that you can turn off, but I think it'd be a great thing. You could have Zeus or Thor beam down and be facing off against Mercury or whoever you want. You have Aphrodite on the back doing healing spells and stuff. I think it'd just be very interesting, very diverse. It'd be a very detailed, very expensive game to produce, but I think it could be incredibly successful, incredibly unique and entertaining and fantastic. Now, if you haven't guessed what's at number 1, then you clearly have not played that many Total War games, because obviously it's Lord of the Rings. It's the most popular mod for various different Total War games. I think there's one for Rome, there's definitely the one for Medieval 2, which is the most popular one. It's called Third Age. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, because it is very good, it's very well made. But it's a mod for a game that came out 14 years ago. And I'm not saying it's a bad game, but games have come a long way in the last 14 years. Like, look at Warhammer 2, and then look at Medieval 2. They look, I'm not just saying graphically, they play different, they look different, they are very different. So I think if you got, all of the Lord of the Rings things, ripped it, upscaled the textures, put all the characters in, fan favourites, all the different factions, and then put it into the Warhammer 2 engine, or the Three Kingdoms engine, which apparently runs a lot better than Warhammer 2, so we'll have to see about that, then I think it would be an incredible game. It'd sell super well. The mod, as of checking, it has over 10 million views in its life, which of course in its life it's been around a while, but 10 million views, that's nothing to scoff at. So it's pretty much 10 million people that want to play a game that is properly Lord of the Rings. I'm not saying the mod isn't properly, but when it's produced directly from the people that are making the game, it's just going to be, within the game rather than kind of a mod, obviously. God, that was such a terrible explanation. But yes, of course, it would be very similar to Warhammer, but of course it has a whole different lore behind it. You have the men, the elves, the dwarves, the evil guys, and then the orcs and the Uruk-hai and all this and all that. And of course, it would be quite similar to Warhammer 2, with the orcs and stuff. Not just Warhammer 2, just Warhammer series. I keep saying Warhammer 2 because it's the one I play, because Warhammer 1 is pointless at this point. But yes, it would be a very interesting game with lots of different unique characters, lots of different hero types. The unit types could be very unique. Literally, all that CA would need to do, they just need to call up the guys that made the Third Age mod or any of the other mods and just be like, so guys, we've decided on the next game, it's going to be Total War, Lord of the Rings, or some better name. And we just want you to, just kind of, give us the, the unit counts, how well it balanced, how you've basically got the game to balance like that. And the modders would just be like, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll just send you all the info, but am I going to get paid for this? And CA would obviously be like, no. But you can see what I mean, they would just literally need to call up the modders, say, alright, how have you balanced it? And then just copy all the stats over, upscale the textures, add, new gameplay mechanics, and then, fiddle about with it from there. And of course compensate the modders. It could just be an incredible game, and they wouldn't even need to do that much because most of the framework is already there in mods, so it would be amazing. But yes, that will end this top 5 video. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any other games that you think they should make, if you think they should make a Star Wars one, or a Banjo-Kazooie one, or a Spider-Man one, if you think they should make a Connectimals Total War, then I'm all about listening to that. So put a comment down below, tell me any ideas that you have. If you enjoyed this video, then please do give it a like. If you agreed with any of my points, if you think any of them are cool, if you like breathing, like the video. If you didn't agree with me, if you think I'm terrible, hate me, give it a dislike, send me a DM. I'd really appreciate that so much, thank you. If you want to stick around, see more videos like this, do guides, top 5s, might even branch out to some different games now that, I've got nothing to do but sit around all day. So stay tuned for that. If you want to check out all that stuff, then be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification so you never miss a video. It's, the most important thing to me. If you click that button, I will genuinely come to your house, tuck you into bed, with my mask on and gloves, of course, and give you a little peck on the cheek through my mask, just to make sure you sleep right. But yes, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, my gamers. I don't know what to do now. I suppose I'll just dance to the slow motion outro. I've got 10 minutes. Alright, cool.